Ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding for the arrival of Her Excellency, the Honourable Linda Dessau, Governor of Victoria, and Mr. Anthony Howard.
Thank you. Please be seated. I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting. I pay my respects to their elders past and present, and the Aboriginal elders of other communities who may be here today. Your Excellency, I invite you to present the Bravery Awards in the Order of Australia. In the early morning of 19 March 2015, Mrs Mary Sauron went to the defence of family members during a home invasion in Malvern East, Victoria. By her actions, Mrs Sauron displayed conspicuous courage. To receive the Star of Courage, Mary Sauron. On the afternoon of 10 July 2004, Mr Mitchell Campbell went to the assistance of a surfer who had been attacked by a shark at Noisy's Beach near Gracetown, Western Australia. By his actions, Mr Campbell displayed considerable bravery. To receive the Bravery Medal, Mr Mitchell Campbell. On the morning of 18 January 2018, Mr Matthew Flanagan went to the assistance of a man caught in dangerous seas at Bithry Inlet, New South Wales. By his actions, Mr Flanagan displayed considerable bravery. To receive the Bravery Medal, Mr Matthew Ian Flanagan. On the evening of 18 May 2016, Ms Brianna Gilbert went to the rescue of an elderly man who had fallen into the Isar River in Munich, Germany. By her actions, Ms Gilbert displayed considerable bravery. To receive the Bravery Medal, Ms Brianna Jan Gilbert. On 22 October 2015, Mr Timothy Leeming rescued an elderly woman from a burning vehicle at Pigeon Ponds in Victoria. By his actions, Mr Leeming displayed considerable bravery. To receive the Bravery Medal, Mr Timothy Thomas Leeming. In the early hours of 24 May 2009, Mr Luke Mitchell went to the assistance of a woman during an altercation in Brunswick, Victoria. By his actions, Mr Mitchell displayed considerable bravery. To receive the Bravery Medal, the Mr Luke Edward Mitchell, to be received by his brother, Mr Shane Mitchell. On the morning of 16 October 2016, Mr Todd Robertson rescued a man from a burning vehicle near Hamilton Plains in Queensland. By his actions, Mr Robertson displayed considerable bravery. To receive the Bravery Medal, Mr Todd Jonathan Robertson. On the morning of 1 April 2017, Mr Lachlan Bullman confronted a man wielding a knife in Strathmore in Victoria. For his actions, Mr Bullman is commended for brave conduct. To receive the commendation for brave conduct, Mr Lachlan James Bullman. On the afternoon of 6 August 2016, Mr Dominic Chimeri evacuated a person from a burning house in Brunswick in Victoria. For his actions, Mr Chimeri is commended for brave conduct. To receive the commendation for brave conduct, Mr Dominic Paul Chimeri. On the evening of 15 May 2016, Mr Gianfelice Fonte and Mr Mohammed Usman rescued a woman who was hanging from a balcony of a building in South Bank, Melbourne. For their actions, Mr Fonte and Mr Usman are commended for brave conduct. To receive the commendation for brave conduct, Mr Gianfelice Fonte. To receive the commendation for brave conduct, Mr Mohammed Usman. On the evening of 18 April 2016, Mr Christopher Ganley went to the assistance of people during an armed robbery at a pharmacy in Nunawading, Victoria. For his actions, Mr Ganley is commended for brave conduct. To receive the commendation for brave conduct, Mr Christopher Allen Ganley. In the early evening of 21 September 2017, Mr Mark Johnson assisted in the rescue of a man from rough water at the port of Hvar in Croatia. For his actions, Mr Johnson is commended for brave conduct. To receive the commendation for brave conduct, Mr Mark Andrew Johnson. In the afternoon of 18 January 2018, Mr William Slattery rescued 4 people from the water at Thompson's Beach near Cobram, Victoria. For his actions, Mr Slattery is commended for brave conduct. To receive the commendation for brave conduct, Mr William James Slattery. On 25 May 2017, 4 Northern Territory police officers rescued a woman from a burning home unit at Katherine in the Northern Territory. For his actions, Mr Trent Dole is recognised by the award of the Group Bravery Citation. The other members of the group will receive their award in the Northern Territory. To receive the Group Bravery Citation, Mr Trent Mitchell Dole. Between 1940 and 1943, 5 men elected to remain on the island of Nauru to protect the Indigenous population and uphold law and order despite the threat of invasion by Japanese forces. For their actions, the late Mr William Henry Doyle, the late Dr Bernard Hazelden Quinn and the late Mr Wilfred Shugg are recognised by the award of the Group Bravery Citation. The other members of the group will be awarded in their home states. To receive the Group Bravery Citation, the late Mr William Henry Doyle, to be received by his great-nephew, Mr Gregory Byrne. To receive the Group Bravery citation, the late Dr. Bernard Hazelden Quinn, to be received by his son, Dr. David Quinn. To receive the Group Bravery citation, the late Mr. Wilfred Shugg, to be received by his great-nephew, Mr. James Shugg. Your Excellency, that concludes the presentations. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please join the Governor and Mr. Howard in congratulating all of our recipients. Governor, I invite you to address us.
Could I acknowledge Mr Paul Edbrook, Parliamentary Secretary for Police and Emergency Services, representing the Premier, Mr Pierluigi Trombetta, Consul-General of Italy, Mr Tim Landells, representing Mr David Bruce, the Acting Chief Officer and CEO of the Metropolitan Fire and Emergency Services Board, and Mrs Coralie Lever, National Vice President of the Australian Bravery Association of Victoria and Tasmania, all our distinguished guests, and of course our award recipients. Can I also start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we're gathering, and by paying my respects to elders past and present, and to any elders who are with us this afternoon. Tony and I are delighted to welcome you all here to Government House for the investiture of the Order of Australia Bravery Awards. These awards, established back in 1975, have acknowledged the courageous and the selfless acts of bravery in our community now for almost 45 years. I can say that as Governor, an investiture such as this is one of the most uplifting and rewarding aspects of my role. It provides an opportunity to recognise the many Victorians who have put their lives on the line to protect or save the life of others. And as everyone here has heard, their bravery has shown no bounds. Some of those being recognised today have acted within our state, others outside it, as far away as Europe. Some have shown their bravery in recent events, some longer ago in World War II, and amongst them all, they have faced a range of perils. I think what's brought home to us today is that each has paid a price in the course of assisting others. Some have paid the ultimate price. The war heroes recognised posthumously today died having knowingly put themselves in harm's way, specifically to help and save many others. Some have themselves been injured in the course of assisting others, and we know too that not every award recipient today was able to succeed in their brave quest to help another. There's no doubt that the loved ones nevertheless remain profoundly grateful for the extraordinary efforts that were made, and so too does the community. We're mindful that as well as celebrating our recipients, we also offer full support to them as we reflect upon the trauma of such unexpected and frightening events. And of course, our thoughts and our support are also with those who were caught up in the events that we've heard about today. We know that many still bear the scars and yet have wanted to be here to show their gratitude to those whose courage is being recognised. So I'd like to thank them for their own courage in that regard. And so, whilst I'm conscious that there are all sorts of emotions stirred in this room, it is important that we're here. You, the recipients, have shown what a good and strong community should be, and indeed can be. Caring, supportive, compassionate and brave. You inspire all of us to be better. On behalf of all Victorians, I thank and commend you for your acts of bravery, and I ask you now to enjoy your time at Government House, and Tony and I look forward to meeting with you and chatting with you after the formal proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand and join in singing the Australian National Anthem? Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes official proceedings for today. I now ask that all recipients follow the Governor and Mr Howard into the ballroom for an official photograph. And I invite guests to remain here in the drawing room where the Governor and Mr Howard look forward to joining you shortly. Please enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.